Nation, stand up. I'm so excited. I'm not even sitting down for this episode of the Cover 3D Raider podcast. I mean, so I had to stand up because I'm so amped. The pads are on out there in Vegas. The Raider Nation is in full effect. Gruden's birthday today. My favorite rapper from De La Soul, Pasta Newton, his birthday today.
It's my dad's birthday. It's my dad's birthday too.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm Jamaican and it's Marcus Garvey Day. Like this is great. This is a great. The August 17th is a great day. So we're going through this heat wave out here in California. Everybody's complaining about the heat as if it's a surprise in California. Like, come on.
Right. Yeah.
I'm podcasting out of California, as you see. My man, who's that? Wes Welker?
That's Renfro.
Okay,
right.
Renfro runs for a touchdown. On the East Coast, we have my man Monster Mash Ken.
Hey yo.
There you go. And then in the Pacific, in Paradise,
Way Pacific.
is Sean Oahu Raider. How's everybody doing today?
Feeling good, man. I'm excited to talk to you guys about some football. Lots going on. Can't wait to dig in.
Lots going on too.
It's getting real. It's getting real.
Yeah, no question about it. We can start off real quick with the news and notes of the Cowboys and the Chiefs are saying that, hey, they're going to have fans in their games, maybe at a 22%, 20% capacity.
Mm-hmm.
The first question that Raider Nation is going to say, I know Sean shaking his head because we texted right before the show, did Mark Davis jump the gun here? And by saying that, hey, we're not going to have fans at all, because my grandmother taught me a lot of things, Sean, and she said some money is better than no money.
Yeah, unbelievable that it would come to this. He did jump the gun. It was too early. There was still plenty of time for the speculation of what we could do with social distancing, what the science is saying, everything, what each state was doing. But he absolutely put his foot down in a stubborn manner, saying that he won't attend. We'll still see if that's the case. But like we spoke earlier, I mean, if you're looking at minimal attendance, how do you allow those guys to be essential workers to build the stadium, but you can't put them in the seats for the home opener? I mean, just the people that are part of the crew, part of the building the new headquarters, building the stadium, let them sit out, in spaces or something. But to have nobody in those seats, I don't want to see it that way. Cardboard cutouts, it just isn't the same.
No, I agree. I think that, you look what the NBA is doing, and it's weird.
It is, yeah.
But I think Davis, a lot of teams have not even announced what they're going to do yet. But we're starting to slowly and surely see. It looks like it's going to be 25%, 25% capacity. Davis, there's got to be more to that story. I just,
Yeah.
Why would he do that? Like, doesn't make any sense.
The question I have too is, like, he wasn't the one who built the stadium. He didn't pull a Stan Kroenke. So
Right.
a lot of different areas. The money was pulled from the taxpayers. It was pulled from some of the casino guys out there. So the money eventually, maybe 5-10 years from now, then it'll all be paid, and then all that's going to be profit for him. But at the end of the day, I mean, he does have to make some money. I mean, it just has to happen. So we'll have to see what happens there as far as that goes. I think he did make a plan. He did give a plan for the NFL and said, hey, do this for social distancing. We could probably have 50% capacity, something like that. But nobody bought it. And then did he say no fans? I'm not going because just to spite that, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, possibly. I mean, I'm thinking it's almost like his dad, right? Maybe something,
something pissed him off.
Something pissed him off, and he just felt like whether he was frustrated because they put so much money and resources into this move, and he can't control COVID. And all of us are frustrated with our own lives right now. Things are dramatically different. So, I mean, it could be a combination of that, and also maybe there was some poor communication from the league or league execs or people under his power that, influenced him to think that people will be there. And then so he reacted in the light he did, but can't really change it. He's got to be happy that, the Raiders year in, year out are some of the highest in apparel and jersey sales and branding and March.
There's only so many jerseys I can buy, Mark Davis. I can't float the team. I'm sorry, man.
But, you know, with a young team, with a lot of young budding guys that we think potentially can be stars in this league, there's something to grasp onto there. But hopefully the community and the season ticket holders, people with these PSLs and all these big investments can get some sort of joy attending games this year. Maybe it doesn't happen week 1, but maybe as other teams change, the NFL promotes a new guidance and follow a new structure, something that they think can work.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. There is a guy who is missing in action. He's very important, and his name is Trent Brown. It's really kind of weird to see him not out there. Are you guys worried about that yet? Because he has not played, he's not been out in the field for a while. It's kind of almost like a hidden thing here with the Raiders as far as that goes.
I'm not too worried about it. As a matter of fact, I'm actually okay with it. We know what he can do. I mean, he's definitely got to hold down that right side, but I'd rather have him healthy, and not rush back in. We still got a lot of off season left. Obviously, we're not playing preseason games, so yeah. I mean, that's what the depth is there for. Is these guys are there to step up and make a roster spot. It's not like he's going to get cut or lose his starting position, but obviously reps are going to help. But I know I truly believe they paid this guy to perform, and he's going to be out there week 1.
Yeah, I mean, no concerns. I've seen that, and I think people are trying to make that seem more suspect and fishy than it should be.
Yeah.
In actuality, he's one of the most dominant offensive linemen in the league. He can play either tackle position. He's incredible. He's massive. If you follow him on social media, he trains like he doesn't have a job. I mean, he calls himself the greatest underdog, and that's kind of how his career projection has gone.
He trains like he won't make the team.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why, to me, with all this COVID restrictions and all these other things in play, some of the guys you can count on and dependable, maybe that's a good thing, because guess what? And maybe you guys can help me out. Give me the best person to back him up on our roster right now.
So you did say, so you mentioned that, and it looks like that Sam Young, who is a journeyman, he's huge. He's 6'9".
Yeah, he's similar size.
His reach is amazing, and people are talking about him being a really good swing tackle. So if he had to come in for a couple of games, not a whole season, that right now in camp he's playing well under the tutelage of Tom Cable. So, but the point of bringing that up was, that if Brown did have to miss a game or two, that Young could come in, or even Colton Miller. He could come in and play a little bit. For the Raiders so far so good in camp. When the real bullets start flying, we have to kind of see what happens there.
Absolutely.
Farrell blowing up camp now. I mean, he's playing very well. Looks huge. He does. Yeah. He physically looks like a monster right now.
He looks swollen.
Yeah, he looks swollen. So, blowing up some plays in the run game. He was a good run defender last year, but now, I mean, you want to see him be able to rush the passer. Thoughts about him in camp right now?
Yeah, I think, Farrell was taken, what was he, 4th overall for a reason? 5th? What was it, 4th, 5th? I can't remember. Yeah. And from listening to Max Crosby's presser today, Max is really playing the captain role, because he's telling the press what he told Farrell is, he had too much on his mind. He's trying to do what the coaches want. He's thinking too much. He's trying to cater to what the coaches want. It's like, just go out there and be you and tear shit up. And he said, listen, I told him that, and this is what he's going to do. And he goes, we're best friends. We're coming into this league together, and we're going to dominate. And I truly believe Farrell, we saw what Farrell could be at the last half of the season when they moved him around a little bit from the outside. But if his weight is matching his position now, I mean, that's a different story. If you get more pass rush from the inside or play him outside, but I like it. I like what he's doing. I like that he didn't sit at home and eat Subway. You know what I mean? He may have, but
wasn't hanging out with PJ Hall. That's
no bread. He's probably on that keto. The keto works, man.
Yeah, speaking of like you, champ, champ.
The keto works. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, no, I think salt and pepper, right? Max and Cleland, they're same draft class. I don't think he'll ever live up to that number 4 draft pick, But my thoughts.
Does he have to though? I mean, like to me,
I
he's
don't
a solid
care.
starter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that hype, I believe, was a part of it last year. Came in at a huge position of need for us. That they were expected to create past one of the worst teams in the league at sacking the quarterback prior to drafting him. So people want to see, everything come together. He's not going to be, J.J. Watt off the. I mean, it's going to take so much more components of this defense for him to come along. And, he had some weaknesses last year because he was, he wasn't strong enough. He wasn't actually the playing weight they want him to get to. They know that when they drafted him. They're looking at his skill set, right? So he's got to gain weight. He's got to put on muscle mass. He's working to do that, and he's done it. He looks like he's done the part. He has an extremely, great leadership skills, and those are the things you want. So guess what? If he ends up being one of the better run stuffers in the league that can move around on the line, I'm happy. He doesn't have to give me 13 sacks a year.
Because you 6 sacks a year, 6, 7
couple
sacks a
pressures.
year.
I mean, he batted 7 passes last year, which was pretty odd. Like, Denico Autry did that and put up those kind of stats, and everyone was like, don't let Denico Autry go. Don't let him go. But Clinton literally put together one of his type of seasons where he's kind of varied in the statistical areas with fumbles, recoveries. And so hopefully he just come solid. It's a good thing to see him. Like, he literally looks different. Last year in camp, when he was running around the little, the little pads and things in practice, I was like, he doesn't really look that physically, like that big physical presence. But now he definitely does. So a good thing.
Yeah, one thing I think about too is, you mentioned that he may not live up to the hype of being selected so early. I think that the Raiders had that position circled, like whether Bosa fell to them or whatever it was. And they knew that this guy's not going to make – maybe they were looking for a trade partner to trade back a little bit, but they had that guy. That's what they wanted. He obviously produced in college, and he played for a championship team on several levels there. Yeah. So I think that they had to pull the trigger and stay true to the board. Whether he's somebody – I don't think he's necessarily a product that they have to – mold. I think that's just playing him in the right spot. And with Marinelli there, I think he's going to bring out the best in him. So I'm not going to say he's not going to live up to that position. But I agree. Like, I think he gets you 6, 7, 8 sacks a season and disrupts some run plays. I'm okay with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As far as Paul Guenther talked this week and talked about his defense and. Thoughts about that presser there. The guy is, I don't think he's under the gun like everybody thinks. Because I just feel like, you're gonna have, when it's your boy, you have a little bit more leeway. And this is definitely one of Gruden's boys. But here's an opportunity for him. Like, he can't say I don't have anything. Everybody from 2018 completely gone off of that defense. Everybody's gone. Everybody. The guy giving the hydration probably is gone too. Like, everybody is out of there. So thoughts about him, and listen, they do have some pieces here. Maybe we have to be patient with the secondary, but the Raiders are definitely on paper at least way better than they were the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'm excited for the defense because all the young variables and the free agent acquisitions and a little bit of what we already had Max Crosby last year and Abram. Everyone wants to see him back. Right. Yeah, there you go. And so I'm not as confident as you, Dwayne. I'll admit that. Like, I really think things need to work this season as a whole in the win-loss column. And
what would be a fair ranking out of all the teams if you had to do one
for overall team defense, scoring defense? They have to move down towards the middle of the pack. You can't just constantly be 23rd to 32nd every year. We've seen that. So I would say fair would be something around. I think if we were right in the middle of the pack at 15th with the type of division we have, that would be, and the schedule we have, that would be great. But 15th to 20th is what it kind of has to be. We've invested a lot now on that side of the ball. The offense has lived up to it in some terms, maybe not on the scoreboard, but I still feel that is his good friend, that is his buddy, but you have to make it work. The Houston game last year, I understand we don't have the personnel, but we did nothing to stop DeAndre Hopkins. We literally let one of the best players in the game just run in the middle of zone and just catch passes for 8-12 yards a play, and Guenther was just heated on the sideline. I don't think I can. And Gruden backed him. What are you going to do? You're going to play him zone. Someone else is going to be hoping no, you take away their strength. So
you definitely do
yeah,
exactly what Belichick does. He takes away
yeah,
and then forces you to go somewhere else.
force the guy that's still good but not great to beat you. In that situation with a defense that terrible. So I think there were things, and I seen what he said. Like, he's saying he has all the toys and weapons right now. It's almost similar to Derek Carr, right? Like, I'm ready. I've got what that the offense is. We've got what I need. We don't have the holes. So it's good to see that energy on both sides of the ball, but results-oriented league. We can't go to Carolina week 1 and give up 28 points to Teddy Bridgewater.
No, I agree. But I spoke about that last week where, in 2018 they had like what in the teens in sacks, 13, 14 sacks, and then you almost double that number with the pieces that, there were no superstars on this team. There were budding stars. Deion Jordan came in, made some plays. Max obviously did his part and whatever, but that's just the defensive line. There was nothing for linebackers. So I think if you can build on rushing that quarterback that you're playing against. And then not only are you going after sacks, but you're going after disruptive plays and or interceptions. So that's the key to this defense. Like, you can rank them. Definitely don't want to be in the high 20s, but I'm thinking like if you're 20 to 15, that's a huge improvement.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think that's being really generous. I'm being realistic here because it's such a young team, a young unit, and these guys got to learn to play together. Obviously, there's still a lot to learn. Especially at the cornerback position. So if they can improve on that ranking, I think they ended at 26th or 24th last season. I can't remember. But if you're in the high teens, mid-teen tier, I think that's a huge win. And we get some. We up that number in the turnover column.
Get me to 18.
Yeah.
And then you could be in a situation where the offense can play some complementary football there, where they can they have a lead. Well, we're up by 10. We got Jacobs. We got Bowden Jr. We got all these weapons here. Let's make it a little bit easier on them. Or also the biggest thing too is getting off the field on third down.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And which is huge. And then getting me some. Getting me some turnovers. I just need to see the ball go the other way a little bit more often than it did last year.
Yeah, I think what's weird about that is, like, 2 drafts ago, we had 2 first-round defenders, Cleveland and Abram. And then another draft later, we took Damon Arnett. So it's like, and then, this free agency, we signed 2 of the best linebackers available. Thank God we needed them. But, we bring in Gutowski and Corey Littleton. I guess that's a big investment. Just those names right there alone. With already established guys like you talked about, Ken. Like we have Max Crosby, we have Trayvon Mullen, we have some other working pieces. We bringing in all these people, but you can't invest in something that much and just give that much leash and leadway. It needs to come to fruition. Good coaches will make it happen. So Gunther has to prove that.
Well, I think also too, you look at last season. We lost Burfict. I think he would have made a difference. In that, as far as like making sure people are where they need to be. He knows Gunther's defense, and we kind of saw that in a little bit. They played a little bit better, But yeah, I think it's definitely the high teens for me.
Yeah, I think so too. I think as long as they may make it somewhere in the middle of the pack, I think they do have an opportunity to become much better. Marcus Mariota. So. I guess we're gonna to start calling some of these people on Twitter Marcus Mariota stands, because when he has a bad practice, I can't find anybody, but he makes a throw and then everybody's tweeting it out like it's gonna happen tomorrow, which is interesting. But I'll let Sean go first. This isn't. I didn't like him from day one. I didn't like him when he was in Oregon. I don't like him as a player, period. And I can tell you, I'll tell you why after you guys go. But I think that I like to base my life in reality, and the reality is we know what is going to happen this year as far as who's going to play. So unless it's injury, unless it's something, unless it's unforeseen, a COVID situation, we know what the quarterback is, and this is not an easy system to kind of jump into. Maybe if I can see him getting on the field in some packages, that definitely should happen. I mean, because he can run the football, no question about it. But your thoughts about the whole this whole Marcus Mariota thing? It's not really it's not bad to have a good backup quarterback. He's really good, but I think people should relax about him taking the field just from day one.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, I'm buying the stock on it because he's healthy. I'm not buying the stock that he's going to play. I'm just saying they got him. Mayock said they're bringing him along. He's a project. He's someone that we could turn into a third or fourth round pick if he gives some. If he looks.
That's how I look at it too. Good point.
And so, or he could be, if there is some massive failure or injury, he's a transitional quarterback that you can have in place. So it's an important stock to have in this league, especially with what COVID is going on. I think the main thing, at least me following him locally since he's been a teenager, his health has been lower body, upper body, new system, new quarterback. I mean, I'm not buying into him as this polished passer, but just the way to power, the zip in some of those throws was good to see. I mean, you're talking about a guy that wouldn't know if he was palming a football or not because his nerve damage was so bad. Imagine trying to be a quarterback and mentally what that does when your lower body is still healing as well, and you're known to be a runner. That's your best strength. That's what you did at Oregon. You threw very easy rhythm throws, short bubble screens and tunnel screens, and you ran the hell out of the football in the read option. So I'm just happy to see him healthy, knowing that, hey, Derek, this is your team. You're the leader. You're the franchise. Gruden is all in on you. But if something happens, asterisk, I'm more confident now that we have a quarterback that if we had someone to come in 3-4 games, we could tailor this offense to fit his strengths enough to where we're not going to go 1-4 in a 5-game stretch. We could go we could win 2-3. We could stay in that playoff contention. Like you said, using him on project gadget plays and stuff would be fun. We also have Bowden who can do all that too. So a lot on the table. I'm like I said, I'm excited to see it for him as a person, that he's healthy and getting confident. And I think that's the important part, because the reality is, if he does have to play, we're all going to be his fan, right?
Hey, and let's be honest. Like, if we had him in 2016. Who knows? Because if the Raiders actually made a deep run that year, Carr would have been able to play in like the AFC Championship game, stuff like that.
And see, so we had Connor Cook and Matt McGloin. It's just.
You mean the Connor Cook who was drafted before the guy in Dallas?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
who we moved ahead to get, by the way.
But I'm just saying, like, backup quarterback is very important. And there was a player, I can't think of his name. I'll try to dig it up next time or when I'm off speaking here. But there was a player from the 2016 season that did say hey, after Carr's injury, it showed how important it was to have a credible backup quarterback. Mm-hmm. And we just simply didn't have one. We had an undrafted free agent, Matt McGloin. We had Connor Cook, who, when he came out of Michigan State, I had watched him play. I said, no. I said, that guy's terrible.
How could you watch his tape and like him?
He was terrible. I mean,
they took off the captaincy from him.
Yeah, that too. And he had that cocky, egotistical thing too. But yeah, that was a terrible pick. But Reggie also drafted Tyler Wilson, who didn't even make the 53 in the third round. He made a lot of mistakes at quarterback. So I guess Carr is his saving grace. He's still around while he's gone. So, but
actually playing in the league, I know.
He's playing in the league and playing at a starter level. So just crazy. But backup quarterback, critical.
Yeah, I gotta throw in my 2 cents here. I'm with Dwayne on this one. I'm not I was never the huge Marcus Mariota fan. Obviously, Sean, you grew up watching him, or you see him grow up and become who he is. I just never thought that he was that good of a quarterback. Like, yeah, he can run and he can make plays and, he can make some of the throws, but I just didn't feel like he was overall like that impressive. Now, but if you go into what you're saying, to have that as our backup, and if Derek Carr goes down, which, we've seen he's gone down the last, couple of years here where we've needed somebody to come in. I feel a lot better of Mariota coming in then what's his face on the third string there? Peterman, and or a rookie quarterback. I feel a lot better with Mariota going in because he can make some plays, and I think he would provide a huge spark, just like Robert Horry coming off the bench for the Lakers. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm all for it. I think the consensus is though for true Raider fans that know Derek Carr is the starter and will be day one and probably well into the season, that's what it's going to be. It's not going to be some way that Mariota is going to beat out Carr and become. And if that's the case, then we got a bigger problem on our hands.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's not going to happen.
I would say very few starting quarterbacks, and I know like I'm going to put on my Josh DeBow hat on right now, have 35 games where they didn't register a rushing touchdown or a passing touchdown.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about with Marcus Mariota now. Injuries, like you mentioned it in high school and in college, he had them as well. I mean, the way his style of play.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna. I mean, because he does not.
He's tough. Yeah, he doesn't.
He is not.
He doesn't look out for himself.
The toughness is I will never doubt.
Yeah.
I'll never say nothing about that part of his game because he is tough as nails. You see him on some of these sweeps where he's out there blocking. I mean, like it's like Marcus, come back to you're not an offensive lineman. Calm down.
Yeah.
So, but I just want to calm that down for Raider Nation. I mean, as far as that goes. Two guys here, who you like, under the radar kind of pieces that would help. That's going to help the Raiders make the playoffs this year.
Kwiatkowski for sure. I think if you go on that side, I mean, it could be either one. It could be Littleton or Kwiatkowski because I think this is the first time that we've had, quality linebackers that I'm actually really excited about. So I think both those guys are going to go out there and make a difference. But on offense, I think it's got to be a healthy Tyrell Williams. And I know that's not a name that's been thrown around a lot with all the hype around these young wide receivers. But I think we saw what Tyrell Williams could do when he's healthy, and he'll get you that critical touchdown. And I think that he's going to be a factor on this offensive line. On the offense side of the ball. So, I'm going to go with either or Kwiatkowski or Littleton or Tyrell on the wide receiver position.
Yeah, don't sleep on Tyrell. Tyrell's not going to get that job up easy, and he knows he has a year in that offense as well.
Yeah, I think for me, it's Jonathan Abram on the defensive side of the ball. And the reason I'm saying that is because we got glimpses of him. I know it's Hard Knocks. We saw him in that Monday Night Football opener. I was there. Just the way he can come downhill and hit people, punish people, and float to the ball. He's got a nose for the ball. He has a desire to hit people. We need more violence. We need more game-changing plays. I know people get caught up in the nuance of the term box safety, and I hate it because people are like, "Oh, that's a box safety. Who drafts a box safety in the first round?" Have you watched Jamal Adams play? Legion of Boom. Have you watched
back-to-back Super Bowl appearances?
Those people that say that are the people that don't know football, and they heard somebody on Good Morning NFL say that shit or something. They have no idea what they're talking about.
If you want to talk about value in the first round, you're completely misconstruing what a good player is. You do not take a player because of their position. You take the players you need, and Abram can bring a lot to the table. I've seen some of the tweets today from camp. He's hanging with Darren Waller. They're saying it's almost, you can tell it's difficult for him to pull off and not hit somebody, but he gets right there and he pulls away. So he's there. He's quick. He's powerful.
And
I know he's driven.
He's a really good tackler too.
Doesn't miss tackles. Yeah. He can tackle with one hand. He dives and trips people up. He pulls. He can lay to wood. If you let him, if you open your shoulders to him, you're asking for it. I know he's going to light people up. So I think he's an important player on that defensive side of the ball. I know all the younger skilled guys and the quick guys, the new linebackers, the defensive line rotation. I think that's going to be varied, but I think Abrams just going to come back. I think he's going to be huge for us. I just, his leadership quality, his drive, it just fits the kind of players they're taking, like Arnett and Amik and Kwiatkowski. They're driven guys. They put their head down to work. I'll take him on the defensive side of the ball. Offensive side of the ball is very tough to decide. I really think we saw how reliable Renfroe was last year. I think he could be just a very, very good third down player for us with what Waller brings to the table, and with the addition of having people on the outside, of which he didn't have last year. You're talking about Ruggs, a 4.3 guy that can spring 4 feet in the air to catch a ball, and guys like Tyrell Williams, a big long strider, and Brian Edwards, who just looks. I mean, he's like. So much talent in that group. So for me on offense, I'm Renfroe's going to be healthy. A lot of people, he was hurt last year. He was a rookie. He was learning. The offense was struggling. I really like Renfroe. I wouldn't be surprised, if he really does. I know we tease that he lives up to the white slot wide receiver reputation, but I would not be surprised if he starts to compete like an Edelman and like a Welker, knowing that Carr loves the intermediate pass game, and that's what Renfroe's going to be on the field to do. So it's hard to overpass someone as good as Josh Jacobs, but I really think Renfroe's role will be very important in critical third downs and drives.
Well, I gotta just back it up for a second, because obviously I'm wearing my Renfroe jersey tonight.
Yes, and you are.
Renfroe's my favorite player in the NFL, like hands down. If you ask me who's your favorite player in the NFL, it's Renfroe right now. I didn't want to say Renfroe because it's a given. Everybody knows that knows me. They're going, Ken's going to say Renfroe. But I didn't want to say Renfroe because obviously he's going to benefit from, just like you said, these short, everybody gets mad at Carr for throwing these 6-yard passes or whatever. Renfroe turns those into a first down, which is great. He doesn't drop the ball. He rarely drops the ball. But yeah, I didn't want to say Renfroe right away. I didn't want to say Edwards right away because he looks exciting. I wanted to be with the real. Under the radar is what Dwayne said. And Renfroe is definitely under the radar. He's not getting enough credit over in mainstream media, but that's okay. And I think what Dwayne was saying, or one of you were saying, the stereotypical white slot wide receiver. But that's okay because if you look at the predecessors, those guys are great. Welker and Cooper Kupp is really good.
Oh yeah, Edelman, Kupp, Welker. I mean, it's just all that production. Yeah.
And I'm okay with it. I like a Brandon Stokely type kind of guy.
I
dig it.
Everybody wants to criticize the Rams. Go look at the numbers of Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp last year.
Oh God. I was on the Cooper Kupp train when he came out. I wanted the Raiders to get him.
I'm SC, but I take that bias out. Robert Woods is just a dog. He loves to play football. For me, my guys I want to look at is I think people are maybe underestimating because I looked at a lot of stuff, and I'm probably gonna do a video breakdown of Carl Nassib. I think he could, especially when they asked him to flare out and cover some wide receiver. I mean, not wide receivers, running backs. He did a pretty good job in that rushing the quarterback. Another guy I think is this is Lamarcus Joyner's. You stayed here for a reason. You stayed here to be the slot corner. I know you got dogs and puppies. You got puppies behind you, but you're a veteran. You're supposed to be a dog. So either tell them, hey, I gotta play back. I gotta play back safety, or man up and play that slot position and dominate. I mean, KJ Hamler is waiting for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's some serious talent at that position waiting for you in this league. So you gotta make sure you're ready to go. I think I know I'm cheating. There was a third guy too I wanted to talk about, and my third guy was definitely from Moreau. I think just watching that pass, Moreau, the red zone woes really started to happen.
Oh yeah,
and Moreau went down.
Yeah,
and hopefully the Raiders don't have that stupid little white plastic on the sideline because that's how we got hurt. I don't know what that does for anybody, but he's fantastic in that short yardage position. He had a great game against the Bears where he caught that little pass on a third down to help
Indianapolis.
He's very good has very good hands, and also he's more athletic than you think. I mean, the ball he caught in Indianapolis, that was very contested. It wasn't like it was just a wide open play. So
you go.